Hello everybody. So this video is entitled MSTR stock, more charts. Saylor tweeting today about more charts potentially coming out. And this is the idea behind this video. Been here before. I've been here before multiple times with multiple stocks. And I will show you some charts of stocks such as HIMS, Opendoor, and Enph, which are stocks that I've covered and that have experienced very crazy volatility, just like MSTR is experiencing right now. Of course, the volatility we're experiencing right now on MSTR is to the downside, which is very, very, very painful. But do you remember the euphoria that this stock had, last year in early 2025, right? That was upside volatility. If an asset is going to do a 10x, it also can lose 90%. If it's able to do a 10x, it's able to lose 90%. And the MSTR stock performance, unfortunately, is doing poorly because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not doing well. And because Bitcoin is not doing well, strategy is not doing well. I'll also show you briefly the performance of Bitcoin. It's just not good. Just not good. So first, let's talk about the buy. Did Saylor buy more? I'm not sure. I think it seems unlikely that he bought, or if he did, he probably sprinkled like 10 Bitcoin or something like that. I think it's unlikely that it bought. What I think he means by this is that he's talking about another chart, which is the cash chart. In my view, there will be a cash chart introduced with the green dots being the cash. But it's true that it could be something entirely different. I see people on X talking about a buyback potential, something like that. I see, announcements about what the new rate is going to be on Stretch. I don't know what it's going to be. I am an advocate of, just raise it a little bit mechanistically and wait for the market to recover. To me, this stock will be solved when Bitcoin returns to 75K, like it was, 30 days ago, 45 days ago, something like that. I don't follow the chart too closely. This stock to me will be solved by Bitcoin going up. Everything will be solved by Bitcoin going up in the crypto field and in the crypto space. Unfortunately, Bitcoin's not doing well. Given also, I want to say, I think he added more cash to the balance sheet because the price action on Monday was particularly awful. You may remember on Monday, the stock opened up really nicely. And then my guess is that he ATM'd very, very hard on Monday to rebuild the cash reserve. Now, let's talk about briefly looking back. So, of course, hindsight is always 2020. But in my humble opinion, Saylor is going through a tough phase right now. The market didn't react to his actions the way he expected, right? He thought selling 32 Bitcoin would inoculate the market, show that they can actually, sell the Bitcoin, and he did that, of course, to please the credit agencies. And of course, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think the credit agencies will give any credit to Saylor anytime soon. But he did that to inoculate the market, and of course, the nuance of tax loss harvesting and why it matters does not sit well with crypto Twitter, and it didn't help that if you looked at all of the interviews when Saylor talked about the sell, he didn't want to do it. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but to me, he didn't want to do it, and so it doesn't make for great interviews. And of course, unfortunately, him selling Bitcoin feeds the worst narratives, and that's what has happened. The very bad narratives have happened. I don't think he should have sold the Bitcoin. It may have been a mistake, but again, opinion is 2020 always. Hindsight is 2020 always. Of course, this is no financial advice on this channel. This is just entertainment, and my opinions are entertaining, I hope. I hope they are. Anyways, using 1.5 billion of cash to improve the credit profile of the profs, that doesn't seem to have worked. And frankly, that 8% discount, that that discount would probably be much bigger now, given how poorly Bitcoin is doing. You see, I think when Bitcoin when Saylor made these moves, Bitcoin was at 80K. It looked really good. Bitcoin looked like it was about to reclaim higher levels, and it did a 180, and Bitcoin went straight back down instead of it sure looked like Bitcoin was going up when it did these moves. So anyways. I look at both moves, whether it is selling the Bitcoin or buying the convertible debt. I see both moves as moves that are here to try to cater to the rating agencies. But to me, the rating agencies, they will be late to this party. To me, the better move, if you are going to go that route, the better move would be for the crypto industry to simply recreate their own rating agencies. Just like you see things like CoinMarketCap, for example, creating its own index. I just think the crypto industry field, the Bitcoin field, needs to create its own tools, its new tools, and perhaps start rating old world differently with a new reference and new frames. And if you look to me, my view as to why the rating agencies won't look at Saylor favorably anytime soon is the way they still snub Tesla. Right? Tesla, in my view, should have a much better credit rating than it already does. But for the longest time, they were not giving a lot of credit to Tesla. And meanwhile, you have companies that get a lot of credit, like telcos, like AT&T, no disruption coming whatsoever. Old Auto, no disruption coming whatsoever. Right? The rating agencies don't look at disruption, or not a lot. And I think Bitcoin will be snubbed for a very long time. Also, you have Basel III, which is another indication that the financial establishment doesn't look too well on Bitcoin, and so it will keep being snubbed for years. And so these moves may not be the best if you're trying to cater to the credit agencies. I would just like him to stop doing that, I guess. But I'm not the CEO, and he definitely knows much more than I do about all of this. So, and these moves could have worked if Bitcoin was 100,000 right now. Everybody would be like, oh, he's a genius, right? But that's not the case, unfortunately. Bitcoin is not performing well at all. So let's talk about, I want to reflect on the stock price. So first of all, let's begin with Strategy's stock price. So again, way up and then way down. The first time I covered Strategy on this channel was, you can get to see my little stats here. The first time I covered it on the channel was October 1st, 2023, and that like it's very clear. Free undervalued stocks I'm buying this October. And of course, MicroStrategy was one of them. The stock was trading at $31-ish in October 1st, right? In that area, so $31-ish. So still nearly a 3x. not nearly as good as it used to be. It used to be much more than a 3x. Oh my gosh, I feel bad at a 3x. It used to be way more than that. So I've taken all the pain with everybody here. And it could go back to a 2x, right? I mean, it could go back to even less than that. And of course I bought at higher levels too, so I'm down on the stock. I don't want to make it sound like I have no pain. I have pain on this stock, but you see, I've covered it at 100. This was pre-split when it was at 100. The performance has not been very good on this one, but it may come back up, because if Bitcoin does well, this stock will do well. If Bitcoin does well, this stock will do well. But we had a truncated bull market, right? 10-10, threw a wrench into crypto. The price of Bitcoin didn't go where it should have gone, and now we have a bear market. I think we had a truncated top. I think that top was negatively impacted by macro, and now macro negatively impacts all sorts of risk assets. And now we have rates potentially hiking again, and we have Middle East situation potentially inflating again right now. Bad news coming out of the Middle East right now. So it's been very tough for risk assets. If Bitcoin does well, strategy will do well. If Bitcoin keeps crashing, if Bitcoin goes to 50 or 40, strategy will go down more. It will go down more. So we need Bitcoin to recover. That's it. And I don't control the price of Bitcoin. Nobody does. So the MSTR story is simple. And Saylor reminded that with this tweet on June 24. Digital credit is for income investors who believe in Bitcoin. If you believe in Bitcoin, then you love the digital credit. If you think Bitcoin is going to zero, the digital credit is also going to go to zero. Saylor is going to go, the MSTR stock is going to go to zero. If you think Bitcoin is going to zero, these are not stocks to touch. If you think Bitcoin, but this is a risk that so many companies have. I'll get to other companies that have such risks, and BTC's performance is really, really not good. Remember, when you look at the AI indices, and I can't access my total return calculator anymore because of a European rule that made the website inaccessible for some reason. But I was going to show you my total return calculator on Bitcoin versus Nasdaq. Nasdaq having outperformed Bitcoin, of course, by a lot, but it's because you have a lot of AI names that did a 10x in the Nasdaq. AI is holding up the indices, but a lot of stocks are in a sea of pain right now, and this has not been a good period for anything but AI. AI has been doing well. That's about it. If you look at the price of Bitcoin, to tell you how bad the performance is, right? April 2021, we were trading at 59,890 in April of 2021. Today, in June of 2026, oh, it's painful to even say that. So in more than 5 years, in 2 months, June of 2026, we are trading at 59,860. So we are down. Of course, I'm cherry picking the best of 2021, and I'm cherry picking hopefully the worst price of 2026. But nonetheless, this is pretty dire if somebody bought in 2021 at the peak, and now we're back all the way here after having done a 2x and then back all the way down here. It's not doing well. It's the liquidity. Where is the liquidity? The sentiment is really bad. Where are the buyers? Right? It's very fishy. It's very weird, this performance of Bitcoin. And I think rightfully so. A lot of the Bitcoiners are pretty upset about the performance. And Saylor has kind of become the scapegoat, and they go after Saylor because Saylor has kind of become the new face of Bitcoin. Right? Before that, it used to be Max Kaiser. If you go for 2010s, it used to be Max Kaiser on, I think it was RT, or I can't remember. I think that channel that he was on was banned. You may remember the Max Kaiser shows. That was the 2010 Max and Stacy. I used to watch his shows on Max Kaiser. That was in the 2010s, and he kind of took over with his interviews, and so he's kind of getting all of the hate for Bitcoin. And this is just sad, because without him, Bitcoin would probably be lower than this. If you really think about it. I mean, he's retired nearly 1 million, not quite 1 million, but he will have retired 1 million coins. So think about that. So I'm very grateful to Saylor, actually, for what he did to Bitcoin and the crypto industry as a whole. Anyways, I want to conclude with this. Similar stocks I've covered with similar volatility. To me, the price action of MSTR reminds me the most of HIMS. So if you look at the HIMS price action, it did literally a 4x, then went back to a 2-year low, and then now we're sitting at a 2x from March 2024, late February 2024. So if you look at HIMS, at one point, HIMS, you had 2 years. If you had held the stock for 2 years at one point, you would have had negative performance. You would have had minus 11% after doing well above 4x. I think HIMS peak was something like 72 or 74 bucks or something like that. And it went all the way back to 15. So from 15 to 74, all the way back to 15, slowly grinding back up, now at 34, 35-ish. That's the story of HIMS. But it can get even crazier. Enph is a crazy chart too. So Enph, it was sitting at a 10x for half a year, roughly. So Enph for half a year was roughly the best performing stock of S&P 500. That amazing performance for like half a year. And if you had held for Enph for 6 years, if you had held it for 6 years, at one point, if you did a snapshot, you would have been at minus 15%. And now Enph, you are at about twice, 2x. You're about a 2x in six and a half years now on Enph. So Enph actually, if you look over long term, performing in line with the market, right? But Enph, you have to believe in solar. Do you believe in solar? You have to believe in solar. If you don't believe in solar, Enph is not going to do it. What's the state of solar right now in the world? The state of solar right now in the world is not well at all. All right, a lot of countries don't want to import Chinese solar panels. The interest rates are very high. Nobody has money to put a solar roof. So Enph is not doing well. It's actually performing in line with the market. And it's linked to interest rates. And Opendoor, my first videos on this channel were Opendoor. I used to love Opendoor stock. I covered Opendoor a lot when it was trading around $1. I remember between like $1.50 and 70 cents. I remember one day I bought Opendoor at like 77 cents or something. Now I exited Opendoor for other opportunities, but learn from my lesson here. That was a mistake to exit Opendoor, right? Because I was big on Opendoor when it was trading around $1. These were the very, very first videos of the channel. I was big on Opendoor when it was around $1. And I held on to it, 4 years later. I guess 3 years later, it's a 4x, and it could have been a 10x in late 2025. So Opendoor, of course, why did Opendoor crash? Because real estate crashed. So if real estate doesn't do well, Opendoor doesn't do well. If solar doesn't do well, Enph does not do well. And for strategy, if Bitcoin does not do well, let me show you this chart again. This bad chart, 5 years, no return. If Bitcoin does not do well, strategy does not do well. This is just the I know it's the finance raised folks will not agree, but stocks are derivatives of business models. They're derivatives of something else. Stocks themselves are derivatives of an enterprise, right? And MSTR is a derivative of Bitcoin, and Enph is a derivative of solar, and Opendoor is a derivative of a real estate market. It's built on top of this, and so if the underlying you're built on doesn't perform well, you're not going to do well. But the crazy volatility is not something that is specific to just MSTR stock or Bitcoin. It's on so many different stocks. These are just a few examples, but it's true for so many different stocks. So to conclude, we've been here before, right? I have no idea where Bitcoin is headed. Bitcoin performance will do what it will do, but strategy is dependent on Bitcoin. Bitcoin needs to do better. If Bitcoin doesn't do better, strategy is not going to do better. That's just the way it is. Anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you are entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.